Hello everyone, welcome to the classroom of Cloudflare in which we are studying currently DDoS attack, especially the flood kind of attack. And by the way, this class is not anyhow associated with Cloudflare, but their content are just superb. So I just follow their content and in order to learn or understand you something. What was the website? Cloudflare. Yes, cloudflare.com, in which we have to navigate to learning. Once again, resources, learning center. Actually, right now it's around 6:40. I was targeting for 6 p.m. exactly to initiate this session, but due to preparation of my lunch slash dinner, preparation got very delayed because I got ran into some issues. But don't worry, we will start at 6:40, then certainly our class will run for 1 hour and we will finish around 7:40. So don't worry about that. And yes, we have completed around HTTP flood attack, and now we have now the time has come to read the ICMP flood attack. Actually, I think we have already covered it. So this will be gone as the time is going very fastly, very smoothly. So let me open my favorite note taking app as well, note taking. But before beginning, guys, I want to show you something. This is a very responsive kind of website that I was building, but I haven't committed it yet on GitHub, so I will do. Please, I want to guys, please rate this website. This has been uh, inspired from a video by the Sharian's coding school itself, because it also comes under the daily Sharians. I am following the daily front end development by Sharians, and if I run this npm run dev, then you guys please rate me how have I done with this website. This is the website. Wait a second, it's loading. Yes, this is the website. This website is what to say, completely responsive. For example, if I open the responsive panel, yes, this is the website how this looks on a smartphone. For example, I have selected the iPhone SE. For example, let me zoom it so you can see. So I have intended that for phone screen, the phone kind of a screen, it look like quite like the Windows lock screen. If you remember, there was a time in the Windows lock screen. Then if you scroll from there, you will see the responsive part, that the what to say, the rows have been separated into columns, and this is how the website looks. And if I open the responsiveness, if you see that, if I zoom it, then you will see how smoothly this text drag overs until we reach a breakpoint. So in order to reach the breakpoint, I have to zoom out first. This is the website. You can see how well it responds to. Actually, I have only added 2 breakpoints. The main brain was engaged due to placing of these icons, how these icons actually act to the breakpoints. So you can see that these icons become here. If it was white, it may be more quite visible. I have to just change the background or make a drop shadow effects kind of something. But although I think that website is still looking great. For example, if I go full screen, and yes, you can see that. Rate me, guys, how it's looking. And all the photos are of their respective owners, so I don't take the credit for that. And that's all for now. And let's visit to, or let's continue our ping ICMP flood DDoS. But let's move to where we were. Cloudflare, Harsh. Yes, zoom it. Yes. So the ping flood is a denial of service attack in which the attacker attempts to overwhelm a target device with ICMP echo request packet, causing the target to become inaccessible. Actually, ping flood, ping of death, and smurf. We have covered specifically what these three kinds of ping attacks are. So I'm very sure that we have already covered this article. And yes, we did cover this article. So time to move to next one. Next one is QUIC, Quick Protocol. And this is a new one. I am very curious to know and hope sure that you are also too. The Quick protocol is a new way to send data over internet that is faster, more efficient and more secure than earlier protocol. The Quick is a transport protocol, which means that it affects the way data travels over the internet. Like almost any internet protocol, Quick can be used maliciously to carry out DDoS attack. In more technical terms, the Quick protocol is a transport layer protocol that can theoretically replace both TCP and TLS. Okay, an encryption protocol. In July 2019, about 3% of all websites were using Quick. The proponents of protocols, including Cloudflare, hope that adoption rates continue to rise over time. The latest version of HTTP protocol, HTTP version 3 or over 3, runs over Quick. Okay, the HTTP is a layer 7 protocol, while Quick is a layer 4 protocol, the transport layer protocol. Okay, and how does the Quick protocol work? The Quick protocol aims to be both faster and more secure than the traditional internet connection. For increased speed, it uses the UDP transport protocol, which is faster than TCP but less reliable. It sends several streams of data at once to make up for data and get lost along the way, a technique known as multiplexing. Okay, so I have to reread this. The Quick protocol aims to be both faster and more secure than traditional internet connection. For increased speed, it uses the UDP, which is faster than TCP but less reliable. It sends several streams of data at once. Okay, and for any data that gets lost along with a technique called multiplexing. Okay, I got it. So if I open the console, because I love to explain things, and if I print the screen, and yes, so TCP, which is often referred as slow protocol, because suppose this is A is sender and B is receiver. So first TCP initiates a kind of tunnel with three-way handshake, and it transmits the data into fragments with certainty that the data fragments, each data fragments reaches to the point B. But what UDP does, it neither did the certain tunneling or neither ensure the security of data. Okay, so it speedily just throws the data. It may hit the B or it may be lost. There's quite possibility. And then there is, what was it? What was it? What was it? What was it? Quick, 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 quick. So I feel like I am around this side. So I am making the A and B shorter here. So you can guys see. So what this quick does, it doesn't create protocol, but just like UDP, it sends multiple streams at once, which is known as multiplexing, with this certainty that even a single stream may hit B and the data transfer is faster. And that's all, guys. Escape. And yes, time to move to our article. Apna article. Yes. So for better security, everything sent over Quick is automatically encrypted. Ordinarily, the data has to be sent over HTTPS to be encrypted, but Quick has built TLS encryption into the normal communication process. So it is much more secure by nature. This built-in encryption speeds up the protocol still further. In typical HTTPS, a three-way TCP handshake has to be completed at the transport layer before the multi-step TLS can begin. This all has to happen before any actual data to be sent between client and server. Quick combines these two handshakes and they happen all at once. The client server acknowledges the connection is open and jointly generate the TLS encryption key at the same time. And now, the star of the day, quick flood. A quick flood DDoS attack is when an attacker attempts to deny service by overwhelming a targeted server with data sent over quick. The victimized server has to process all the quick data it receives, slowing the service to legitimate user. In some cases, crashing the server altogether. DDoS attack over Quick are hard to block because Quick uses UDP, which provides a very little information to the packet recipient that they can use to block the packets. Okay. And Quick encrypts packet data so the recipient of the data cannot easily tell if it's legitimate or not. And this is what we called suffering from success. Actually, it encrypts in order to protect the data, protect the integrity of data, and whatever. But you got the idea. But actually, this boon becomes its poison. A quick flood attack can be carried out using a number of methods, but the quick protocol is particularly vulnerable to reflection-based DDoS attack. Okay. Okay, so there's a just like the ping attack, there are multiple methods to do such kind of attack. But the quick protocol is particularly vulnerable to reflection-based DDoS attack. And what is reflection? In a reflection DDoS attack, the attacker spoofs the victim IP address and requests the information from several servers. When the server responds, all the information goes to victim. The same thing, the courier boy example that you ordered something but put another address of the victim, then the delivery boy go to that victim's house and demand him money because you choose to cash on delivery. That's the same thing. With the quick protocol, it is possible to carry out reflection attack using the initial hello message that starts a quick connection. Unlike in TCP connection, a quick connection does not open with server sending a simple acknowledge message. Because the quick combines UDP protocol with TLS encryption, the server includes its TLS certificate in the first reply to the client. This means that the server first message is much larger than the client's first message. By spoofing the victim's IP address and sending a hello message to server, attacker tricks server into sending large amount of unwanted data to the victim. Good. To partially mitigate this type of attack, the architects of the quick protocol set a minimum size for the initial client hello message so that it cost the attacker considerable bandwidth to send a large amount of fake client hello message. However, this server hello is still larger than the client hello. So an attack of this nature still remains a possibility. There should be a word called still. Are quick flood similar to UDP flood? A UDP flood is a type of DDoS attack that overwhelms a targeted server with unwanted UDP packets. Quick also uses UDP, but a quick flood is not necessarily the same. Kind of same, but not same. One way a UDP flood can take down a targeted server is by sending spoofed UDP packets to a specific port on a server that is not actually in use. This server has to reply all the packets with ICMP error message, which takes the processing power and slows down the server. This attack would be possible using Quick, but usually cheaper for the attacker to carry out over UDP alone, without the added overhead of generating Quick packets. Okay. The server has to reply all packets okay, which takes up processing power, slows the server. This attack would be possible using Quick, but usually cheaper to carry it over UDP alone without the added overhead of generating Quick packet. Okay. And Cloudflare do protects from Quick flood as well. Good. Time to move to next article. Actually, guys, I just have to tell you about the song of the day. Today I am listening Airbag by Radiohead on loop, and what a pleasing experience it was. If you haven't heard it, listen for once, and I'm sure that you will be fan of voice of Thom York just like me. Go give it a try, and then if you are here, then comment me so that you actually heard this part too. Okay, next is Sin Flood attack. A Sin Flood half open attack is a type of DDoS attack which aims to make a server unavailable to legitimate by consuming. I think we already heard about this. We have read this Sin Flood attack, didn't we? Let me check it. Sin Flood attack. Never mind. Let's see. Spoofed SYN packets, then it sends the acknowledgements. Kind of reflection attack, I guess. Direct attack. A SYN flood attack where the IP address is spoofed. It is known as direct attack. In this attack, the attacker does not mask their IP address at all. As a result of the attacker using a single source device with real IP to create attack, attacker is highly vulnerable to discovery and mitigation. In order to create half open state on a targeted machine, the attacker prevents their machine from responding to the server's SYN-ACK message. This is often achieved by firewall rules that stop outgoing packets other than the SYN packets, or by filtering out any incoming SYN-ACK packet before they reach malicious user machine. In this practice, this method is used rarely, as mitigation is fairly straightforward. Just block the IP address of the each malicious system. If the attacker is using a botnet, such as Mirai botnet, they won't care about the masking of IP of the infected device. Okay. Next is spoof. A spoof means changing the IP address in order to get more difficult to be discovered. While the packets may be spoofed, those packets can potentially be traced back to their source. So it's difficult to do this sort of detective work, but it's not impossible, especially if ISP, internet service providers, are willing to help. And next is DDoS attack. If an attack is created using a botnet, likelihood of tracking and attack back to its source is low. For an added level of obfuscation, an attacker may have each distributed device also spoof the IP address from which it sends packet. If the attacker is using a botnet, such as Mirai botnet, they generally won't care about masking the IP of the infected device. Okay. And by using a SYN flood attack, a bad actor can attempt to create denial of service in targeted device with less traffic other than the DDoS. Okay. Instead of volumetric attack, which aim to saturate the network infrastructure, SYN attacks only need to be larger than the available backlog in the target operating system. If the attacker is able to determine the size of the backlog, how long the each connection when we left open before timing out, the attacker can target the exact parameters needed to disable the system, thereby by reducing the total traffic to the minimum necessary amount to create denial of service. And next, how is a SYN flood attack mitigated? The SYN flood vulnerability has been known for a long time, and number of mitigation pathways have been utilized. Few approaches like increasing backlog queue. Each operating system on a targeted device has a certain number of half-open connection that it will allow. One response to high volume of SYN packet is to increase the maximum number of possible half-open connection. The operating system will allow. In order to successfully increase the maximum backlog, the system must reserve additional memory resource to deal with all new requests. If the system does not have enough memory in order to handle the increased backlog queue size, the system performance will be negatively impacted, but that still may still better than the denial of service. But I still did not get what this backlog queue size. Let's ask our beloved friend ChatGPT. Oh, okay. What? What does backlog queue is means? Oh, sorry. Let me zoom in so you can guys also see what I am seeing. The term backlog queue size typically refers to the number of item, task or request waiting to be processed in a queue, but not have been handled yet. It is commonly used in various contexts in software development, system design, networking, even in customer service scenario. Okay. So when your RTM, the guy that handles the how much calls need to be taken in a call center, if they shout that the calls are in waiting, so basically they are referring to the backlog queue size, because we in customer service that this term is also referred. Okay. So we are interested in networking right now. In networking, if a device like router or switch is receiving more data than it can handle in real time, packets of data may be queued in a backlog. This backlog queue size here refers to the number of packets willing to be transmitted. And slightly interested in customer service because I am currently working in that. In a customer support environment, the backlog queue size represents the number of customer inquiries or tickets that have been submitted but have not been addressed by the support team. A high backlog could indicate that support team is overwhelmed, potentially leading to slower response time. Okay. Next, recycling the oldest half open connection. Another mitigation strategy involves overwriting the oldest half open connection once the backlog have been filed or filled. This strategy requires the legitimate connection can be fully established in less time than the backlog can be filled with malicious SYN packet. This particular defense fails with the attack volume is increased or if the backlog size is too small to be practical. Okay. And next is send cookie. This strategy involves the creation of a cookie by the server in order to avoid the risk of dropping connection when the backlog has been filled. The server responds to each connection request with a send ACK packet but then drops the send request from the backlog, removing the request from the memory and leaving the port open and ready to make a new connection. If the connection is legitimate request, a final ACK packet is sent from the client machine back to the server and the server will be then reconstructed. This SYN backlog queue entry, while this mitigation effort could lose some information about the TCP connection, it better than allowing a denial of service to occur to the legitimate user. Okay. And is there anything else? No. So did you guys get it? What is SYN flood attack is? Basically, this SYN message that a SYN message that is sent to the server in order to initiate the connection, which is sent by client to a server in order to initiate the connection. If we initiate multiple connection at once, the server will be overwhelmed. And basically, this is how the SYN flood attack works. Next is UDP flood attack. A UDP flood is a type of denial of service attack in which a large number of UDP user datagram protocol packets are sent to a targeted server with the aim of overwhelming device ability to process and respond. The firewall protecting the targeted server can also become exhausted as a result of UDP flooding, resulting in the denial of service to legitimate traffic. And how does a UDP flood attack work? The UDP flood primarily works by primarily exploiting the steps that a server takes when it responds to a UDP packet sent to one of its ports. Under normal condition, when a server receives a UDP packet at a particular port, it goes through two steps in response. The server first checks if any programs are running which presently listening for the request at a specific port. Remember the port number that I have told in the previous video? That binds an application or a feature to the network port because the IP address is same. But on a same IP address, there can be multiple open ports and these ports are assigned to this. Suppose this tab has a port number assigned to it. So it's received data through that port using the same IP address that this computer is actually receiving data to or with. If no programs are receiving packets at that port, the server responds with a ping packet to inform that the sender has and destination was unreachable. Okay. Let me read it again. How does a UDP flood attack works? A UDP flood works typically by primarily by exploiting the steps that a server takes when it responds to a UDP packet sent one of its port. Under normal conditions, when a server receives the UDP packet at a particular port, it goes through two steps in the response. The server first check if any programs are running and presently listening for the request. If no programs are receiving packets at that port, the server responds with a ping packet to inform the sender that the destination was unreachable. Okay. And UDP flood can be thought of in context of a hotel receptionist routing calls. First, the receptionist receives a phone call where the caller asks to be connected to a specific room. The receptionist then need to look through the list of all rooms to make sure that the guest is available in the room and willing to take the call. Once the receptionist realizes that the guest is not taking any calls, they have to pick the phone back up and tell the caller that the guest will not take the call. If suddenly all the phone lines light up simultaneously with similar request, and then they will quickly become overwhelmed. Okay, okay, okay. But this example has something that I still don't get it. Let me explain that what I'm not getting right now. Suppose, for example, suppose this is our room A. This is room A, and this is room B. And for example, let's suppose room C, D, and E respectively. And this is R. R stands for receptionist. Suppose A called R and ask that I want to talk to C. Okay. Then what this receptionist will do, as per this example, it calls to C first, whether he is willing to talk with A. And if C is yes, then a receptionist places a call, means it joins the call, and this is how actually works as per this scenario. But I am not able to understand who the receptionist is in the client and server system. Suppose if this is a client, what happened? Suppose this is a client and this is a server. Client sends a request to the receptionist in the scenario that he wants to connect to that server C. But who the receptionist is in this scenario? I just want to know that. Okay. The server with response with a ping packet to inform that this sender, that the inform the sender. The server responds with a ICMP ping packet to inform the sender that their destination was unreachable. Okay. And this has become quickly very confusing. So as the each new UDP packet is received by the server, it goes through steps in order to process the request, utilizing server resources in the process. When the UDP packets are transmitted, each packet will include the IP address of the source device. During this type of DDoS attack, an attacker will generally not use their own real IP, but will instead spoof the source IP address of the UDP packet, impeding the attacker's true location from being exposed and potentially saturating the response packet from the targeted server. As a result, the targeted server utilizing resource to check once again, yes, to check and then to respond received UDP packet. The target resource can become quickly exhausted with target flood of UDP packets are received, resulting in denial of service to normal traffic. I think we should study this article using ChatGPT. A UDP flood DDoS attack is a type of denial of service attacks that aims to overwhelm a target server or network by flooding it with a large number of UDP protocols packet. This attack does not require the attacker to establish a connection because UDP does not establish a connection, thus making it harder to detect and mitigate. And here is a breakdown. The first, UDP is a connectionless protocol, meaning it does not require a handshake or acknowledgement before sending packets. Okay, this makes it less resource intensive, easier to spoof the source address. Next is flooding the target. So we are studying about the components of the attack, flooding the target. In UDP flood attack, the attacker sends the massive amount of or massive number of UDP packets to random or a specific port on the target machine. Since UDP does not guarantee delivery, the target typically responds ICMP destination unreachable message when it does not recognize the port. Okay. Now I am getting it. Now I am getting it. Let me go back to this example and I will again try to understand you this thing. Okay. So start the screen annotation. Meta shift print. Yes. So listen here, guys. So this was the client in our in our example. And this is the server, not bot request, server. Okay. And then there is an attacker. Here attacker A stands for attacker. So this is attacker. Now attacker is spoofing his name. So the actually receptionist so the actual receptionist was this attacker altogether. So the attacker spoofs that I am a client. It says in a quotation, I am client, and I want this data. As per previous example, I want to call him. So actually, it queries every server. Okay. Then server with the sole purpose of helping. No. I will help the client, and it actually sends data, a concentrated data flow to the single device client, and this leads to jamming of client. Did you get it? I think because now I understood it fully. So we'll proceed to. You can guys always reverse the video, read the article, and if still not getting it, you can definitely comment me in the comment section, or you can ask the chat GPT because it's open and everyone can use it. So next is, as each new UDP packet is received by the server, it goes through utilizing steps in process request, utilizing. One second, I already heard this. This is the spoof packet, and this is the ICMP error packets of the destination unreachable. This is saying something else. Never mind, but I do get it. Okay, so we are now proceeding to another article. How to DDoS. Actually, I was seeing stats for the video, for my video, and I saw there that for the first video there was very much view, but not for the consecutive ones, video 2, video 3, and I think this was video 4 or 5. So there was not much views for the latter videos, but for the first video. And I think the viewers actually wanted this content, how to do DDoS, and this is it. One second, it is the same article, actually revision of this. I don't think I will be reading this article in details. Let's see, DDoS booster. Yes, this is look like something new one. An IPS tracer is a tool designed to test a network or server for robustness. The administrator may run a stress test in order to determine whether the existing resources are sufficient to handle additional load. Testing one's own network is legitimate use of a tracer, but running it against someone else's network or server, resulting in denial of service to their legitimate users, is illegal in most countries. Means using one's own Wi-Fi is good, but using someone else's Wi-Fi without their permission is illegal in most countries. What are the booster service or booter services? Sorry, I was studying booster for that much. So the booter, also known as booter services, are on-demand DDoS attack services offered by enterprising criminals in order to bring down websites and networks. In other words, booters are the illegitimate users of IPS treasure. Illegal IP addresses often obscure the identity of the attacking server by the use of proxy servers. The proxy reroutes the attacker's connection while masking the IP address for the attacker. Booters are slickly packaged as software as a service, often with email support and YouTube tutorials. Okay. Package may offer one-time free service, multiple attacks within the defined period, or even lifetime access. A basic 1 month package can cost as little as $20. Payment option may include credit cards, Skrill, PayPal, Bitcoin. Okay. And how are the IP booters different from the botnets? A botnet is a network of computer, okay, whose owners are unaware that their computers have been infected with the malware and are being used in the internet attacks. Booters are the DDoS for a higher service. Booters traditionally used botnets to launch attack, but as they get more sophisticated, they are boasting more of powerful servers. As some boosters public services put it, help with launch your attack. Okay. What are the motivation behind the DDoS attack? Skiddish, fleshing out their hacking skills. What this skiddy means? Let me search for it. Skiddies. Skiddies. Script kiddie. Script kiddie, okay, is an unskilled individual who uses script or programs developed by others primarily for malicious purpose. Okay, is an unskilled individual. Okay, and business rivalries, ideological conflict, government-sponsored terrorism, or extortion. PayPal and credit card are the preferred method of payment. Bitcoin is also used it because it offers ability to disguise identity. Even though there is a one disadvantage of Bitcoin from the attacker's point of view, it is fewer people who use Bitcoins compared to the other forms of payment. And this is the definition of this kiddie. Oh my god. Light got my electricity got disconnected. So I have to pause the stream here with my smartphone, the using application called OBS Blade. And it says that the connection could not be initiated. But why? Oh my god, the connection could not be initiated. Yes, I have to leave the stream for this because I don't have my monitor active. See you guys. I will cut this part, cut this section in the final output of the YouTube.